So this is the second part of that video. It's only because I don't know how to use this editing app. But anyways, I'm trying. So this is my venison shank right here. I got them tied up. They were salted last night. And they sat overnight. And they just kind of marinated in some salt. I cut up my vegetables, which are now in the crock pot right here. They're getting warm. I'll stir them in. Basically, I have onion, carrots, celery, and a little bit of habanero. Now, there's a few things in here that I grew in my garden, but I've pretty much eaten all that, so there's not much of that left. Of the things I cut up, I can grow this. I'll put this in my aquaponics system. It'll grow roots, and then I'll have a celery plant that I can plant elsewhere. Garlic, you can stick this in the ground, and you'll have garlic chives, or the greens of garlics. Carrots, you can stick the carrot in the ground, and you'll grow greens off the top of it. Habanero, I gotta wait till spring to do anything with that. And then onion. The bottom of my onion, I take this, stuff it in the ground, and I'll grow onion greens. Same thing with this one, but this one, it's getting a little old, but I might be able to use some of it left, or some of what's left. So here we are. We've cut it up. We've got this waiting. Next thing I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna brown it in the pan, and then I'm gonna add it to the crock pot and get it cooking for about 4 to 6 hours. Then everything I have left over, this all goes back in the garden. I'll go out and I'll pull the mulch aside. I'll lay this down in there, and that's why I have good soil out in my gardens. You can look back at some of the past videos, and you can see me composting the gardens. You can see me using this stuff as compost. You can see how these have actually grown, what they look like. I do it with the kids. And you can look at some of the other cooking videos I got. It's really just the same thing over and over again that I do. A lot of the same seasonings. I don't use numbers. I just go by taste, and if I want to add something because it felt like it was missing something, then I will. I can add rosemary to this if I want to, or not. I'm going to try some Italian seasoning, oregano. I got some thyme. I actually have fresh stuff growing out in the garden right now, but I'm going to use this. And then salt and pepper, just to taste. So anyways, let's get to the next step. So here's one of the next steps. This is browning the venison shakes. What I'm using is a pecan flour. It's basically just crushed pecans. I don't eat a lot of carbs, so this is what I'm using. I'm going to brown this, and I'm going to stack them in there, and I'm going to cook it all together. And whatever's left over, after I finish with the last of that, I'll just dump this in there, and I'll have a pecan flavor added to it. Never tried it like that before, but I'm willing to give it a go. So that's where we're at now, and after I get done with this, we'll see all of this inside the crock pot. So here we are getting close to the end. All of my shanks have been basically braised in the pan. I've cooked all the ends, cooked the middle, and they're crusted with the pecan flour. And over here, I'm going to get the rest of the drippings out of this pan, and I'm going to pour it in there because I poured the beef stock right here into that. And I'll take this guy, and it'll help me clean out the pan too. Pour all that in there as best I can. Now I got a good mess I got to clean up. I'll end up scraping the pan. And then after that, we'll get some more beef stock in there. We'll get some more filling in there. Probably some crushed tomatoes or stewed tomatoes. And then we're going to fill it up. Use the rest of the pecan flour. Put that in there. And we're going to let this thing cook. All right, this is my last step for right now. I got a can of stewed tomatoes from the commissary because I'm retired military. I shop there. As you can see, it's not all the way full. You can see some of it still sticking up. Now, as things cook down, it'll lower, but what you don't want is you don't want it to dry out, and you don't want it to get real crusty. So I fill in some of the spaces with this right here, the stewed tomatoes, and they'll add a lot of flavor to it. They'll be pretty good. But the good thing about them is I think they're only 7 carbs, 3.5 servings. I'm not going to eat this whole thing in one sitting. I'll end up freezing a bunch of it, to tell you the truth, because as much as I'd love to eat it all, I can't. And then because of the garlic and the onions, can't give a lot of this to the dogs, otherwise you'd be cleaning up a lot of messes. In fact, that's what I was doing downstairs in the basement before this, cleaning carpets. So that was because I was stupid, and I poured the grease out over the deck because we're on a septic system, and that was a stupid thing to do because the dogs found it and ate it all up. But anyways, that's about it. I'll come back when it's all done.